I'm Dr. Kulkira. In the last class, we have discussed about the infectious disease leptospirosis. So for the first next 5 to 10 minutes, we will have a just brief review of that. Later, I will go to scrub typhus, which is also one of the infectious diseases. In the last class, let me brief about leptospirosis. Leptospirosis is a zoonotic disease which is transmitted by rat, where it is a reservoir where the infected urine, tissue, and body, urine, tissue, or any material from that infected rat is contaminated. The food which you take or drink water penetrate into the body. The leptospira penetrate into the body. I already discussed that the leptospira has got a bilateral hooked organism with a flagellae which helps him penetrate into the organism. Once it penetrates into the organism, it will stays in the renal tubules and affects the body, where it damages the endothelium and enter into the circulation and causes leptospirosis. It involves all parts of the body, that is, it causes multi-organ dysfunction. So, when the pathogens mainly is invasion of endothelium or damage to the endothelium of the vessels, where there is aggregation of platelets and leak of fluid that causes and in liver and other organs also. Coming to the clinical features are broadly divided into two types. We have already discussed two types. One is any anicteric phase, anicteric and icteric phase. So anicteric means icterus, you know that icterus means jaundice. Patient without jaundice, that is without involvement of liver. That is anicteric phase, where the patient will have fever, throat pain, everything, body pain, generalized body headache, everything. The patient becomes affected. After 3 to 4 days, again the patient becomes febrile. That's why in that case, the patient will have the left is a biphasic pattern. That's why it is called biphasic along with other viral diseases. In icteric phase means where only is hepatic, along with involvement of other organs like lung and kidney and heart and pancreas. When there is involvement and the patient is then it is called Wheat or Wheels disease. Next, laboratory diagnosis, examination, and PCR test and ELISA IgM detection and isolation of organism. And coming to the treatment, this consists of one, mild cases and severe cases. Mild cases, doxycycline for 7 to 14 days according to the symptom. If the patient is along with doxycycline, or if the patient is sensitive to oxygen, then you can go for amoxicillin, that is penicillin group of antibiotics. Next, if the patient is sensitive to that, then you can go for azithromycin and third generation cephalosporins also you can give. So that is a treatment for leptospirosis complicated. If the patient has got other complications like renal failure or pulmonary failure, that is respiratory failure, if the patient has developed air distress, you have to go for ventilation. If patient needs for dialysis, go for dialysis. And it should be differentiated for other tropical diseases like malaria, typhoid, and other hemorrhagic fevers, and other disorders which causes low platelets like dengue. And now, other main differential diagnosis is scrub. The class today is about scrub typhus. So I request all the students go through the slides because there is a little bit gap between in this Zoom class. There is a little bit gap in the communication. So go through the slides when I am telling. So I will discuss these in these subheadings: introduction, historical prospect, epidemiology, pathogenesis, clinical features, complications, approach disease, and management and prevention. First, coming to the introduction. So, it is one of the most oldest diseases, and it is most common in South Asia and specific regions. Almost it affects almost 1 million people annually. Almost there is an effect of 1 billion exposed. The distribution is limited to a triangle, that is called distribution triangle, extending between the North Japan, Western Australia, and Russia. That includes India, subcontinents, and Russia and China. What does this triangle means? If you connect that Japan, Australia, and Russia, if you connect these countries, there will be a triangle. So this affects the countries which comes under this triangle. I will show later this triangle. So that's why there is a triangle which commonly affected by this organism. So Streptococcus is a mite-borne infectious disease caused by the oriental deficiency in the distinct from other rickettsial fever. Basically, it is a rickettsial. There are other types of rickettsial fever, but it has got some special characters when compared with other rickettsial fever, where there is a difference in structure and genomic variation. Okay, and this scrub typhus was initially diagnosed or in Second World War, where there is an epidemic. So already what I said is this is called the triangle. You can see on that where there is Australia, Japan, and that is Pakistan and India. And if the countries which in this triangle is commonly affected. This is one of the tropical diseases. It's common. That's why it is called a triangle. Okay. Next is epidemiology. So coming to the epidemiology, how it is transmitted? What is the how it in the body it is get infected. One. So coming to the epidemiology, the scrub typhus is a common disease in endemic areas, although most of the scrub typhus occurs in rural areas and also in urban areas. Why common in rural areas? I mean, is most of the common in the fields like rice fields, cane sugar fields, where the mites are more common. So basically, it is transmitted by mite. What is when the mite means? In Telugu, mite means మనం చిన్న చిన్నగా చూసాం కదండి ఈ అనిమల్స్ మీద ఉంటాయి బట్ దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ మనం పిడుదలు అంటాము సమ్టైమ్స్ పెయిన్లు ఆల్ దోస్ కమ్స్ అండర్ మైట్స్ సో ఇట్ ఈస్ ట్రాన్స్మిటెడ్ బై మైట్స్ నాట్ ఓన్లీ ఇన్ ద ఫీల్డ్ బట్ ఆల్సో ఇన్ ద హౌసెస్ ఆల్సో ఇన్ విలేజ్ ఫీల్డ్ ఆల్సో సో దే ప్రెసెంట్ ఇన్ ద బిహైండ్ ద డోర్ ఆర్ grooves in the doors they will stay that larva will stay and they will lay eggs and that leg will carry the larva into transmit into the larva that larva will feed on the humans and they will infect the humans. So this is one. The larva typically bites humans on the lower extremity and the genital region. Transmission of disease occurs sharply delimited. It is Iceland that consists of focal location of structured vegetation and small. So what is it? Once there is a bite over the body, at that area there is a formation of a scab-like structure that is called eschar. Eschar. I will show later. That will be black colored eschar. So this is other rickettsial fever. They are grouped into three. One is scrub typhus and spotted fever and others. In typhus groups, again they are divided into epidemic typhus, marine typhus, and scrub typhus. That comes under typhus. Spotted fever means that the patient will have a small hemorrhage exposed. Indian pink typhus, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and rickettsial fever. And acute fever and typhus. These are other fevers. The specialty among all these, the scrub typhus has different from other group of rickettsial fevers in two things. One is there is a wide variant of genomic variant, and another is its structure. That cell wall is lack of polysaccharide and peptide compounds. So this is about agent. So this is there's gram-negative shaped cocci bacterium, wide phenotypic and genotypic diversity. What I said, the reported serotypes are carp, cake, everything. You don't bother about all those things. It does not have vacuolar membrane and it freely grows in the cytoplasmic infected cell. That is, the infection is very rapid. The cell wall is lack of polysaccharide and peptide and does not have an outer slim layer. So what is that slim layer means? Most of the times, not only scrub typhus, there are number of other bacteria and other organisms where there is a slim layer is absent. Slim layer. The slim means a coating which protects from that organism from other things, or in our body, especially is our bladder. Urinary bladder is the natural protective mechanism is a slim layer. Our bladder is protected by a slim layer which is made up of lipopolysaccharide and peptide ligands, which does not allow the organisms to penetrate. So once that slim layer is absent, it can easily penetrate into the organism, body, host. So these are the habitats organism, that is grasslands, area around the houses, moist areas, swamps, bags, and rice fields. So this is transmitted by bite of infected larvae of this one, and that is called chigger, and feeds on lymph and tissue fluid rather than blood. Bite of a mite leaves the cat's black scar. That is what in the center you can see on the hand. That is what maybe you will see in the center. There are two figures. That is larvae, and another is a black scar. So what happens here? Once it feeds on the lymph and tissue fluid, where it penetrates the vessels, then later into the blood. That is very, very important. That is pathophysiology. So life cycle, humans are accidental host. Normally the larva feeds on the small mammals and ground separating. That is where the adult worm lies the eggs. The larvae, the disease is transmitted once the eggs the eggs are hatched into larva, and the larva feeds on the body, and again they will get infected. So this is very important. So you go through the slide, ma. Please go through the slide. So what happens? The organism, what is the way of it entering into the body? It causes vasculitis in all parts of the body, or the organ that is get affected will get vasculitis. How it get vasculitis means it's the organism invades and breeds within the phagocytes, escapes from the cell, back into the circulation. That is, it causes lysis of the cells and enter into the circulation, and proliferate on the endothelium of the small blood vessels, as I already said, endothelium of the vessels, where it causes damage, and the cytokines and other cell damage endothelium integrates get damaged, and the fluid will leak, and the platelet aggregation will occur and causes damage. The focal, occlusive, and angiitis. Angiitis means vessels of the inflammation, and micro vessel damage. That is. So finally, what is very simple is the pathogenesis is the organism once invades, causes damage to the vessel walls and leads to vasculitis, microvasculitis, small vessel vasculitis in all the parts of the body, like kidney, liver, and other parts of the body. The incubation period as usual 7 to 10 days, up to it lasts for 19 days also. So clinical features: fever with chills, headache, myalgia, anorexia, respiratory complaints, cough, cold, influences, and other complaints that the patient has got. So the symptoms are divided into which system has got involved. The primary symptom is fever, fever with chills and rigors. So what I have to keep by using students is the scrub phase is one of the differential diagnoses for PUOs, fever of unknown origin, when they came from an endemic area. That's why the history is very, very important, and a clinical examination is very important for SCAR. So whenever there is a CNS involvement, as such, the patient will have headache, myalgia, anorexia, and respiratory complaints. So this is, some patient develop characteristic non-puritic macular, not only SCAR. Sometimes the patient will have a type of puritic rash also. You may miss that it may be some dermatological or some other viral fever. So you have to keep in mind that it not only causes SCAR. You can see there is a 3 figures in this where a typical SCAR is there. There is a black SCAR is there. Maculopapular rash also. Mostly over the abdomen. The sites are mostly commonly over the abdomen and over the face. So, presence of SCAR or chigger bite is pathognomic. A patient with other investigations negative also, if the patient has got fever associated with chills and rigors with SCAR over the body, especially the sites like where there is some wet sites like axilla, in the mammary area, in the groin, or in the neck. If there is a SCAR, it is a diagnostic of streptococcus. So these are the complications. So it involves, as such, it causes the fever and body pains, and it goes to the asymptomatic to fatal. In a fatal cases, it involves these systems. So primary in the respiratory system is causes interstitial pneumonitis or ARDS, where the patient needs ventilation. Coming to the hematological, it causes thrombocytopenia. So it is one of the differential diagnoses for thrombocytopenia. So pancytopenia, where the PUOs with the pancytopenia, so we have to suspect septicemia. If the patient has undiagnosed and not treated properly, The patient may lapse in disseminated intravascular coagulation. And cardiac. Coming to the cardiac, it causes myositis and dysfunction and congestive cardiac. And abdominal pain. It causes mainly involves the kidney and rarely because of low platelet causes GAT. The neuropsychiatric manifestation. The CNS involvement very very important here is it causes meningoencephalitis. This is very very important. Meningoencephalitis. The patient will have all the symptoms of CNS like headache, all the signs of meningitis like neck stiffness or plantar extension, whatever. But the patient will have also have involvement of cranial nerves, especially lower cranial nerves. The patient has got involvement of lower cranial nerves. Once there is a CNS involvement, the mortality will be high. Generally, the mortality is usually 7%. But when there is a CNS involvement, the mortality will be high. That comes around 30%. And the patient should be differentiated from other meningitis disorders, and the patient will have all the complications of meningitis. That is sequelae of meningitis. What is that sequelae means? As it causes vasculitis, the patient may present with a micro occlusions of the vessels lead to occlusion and leads to CVA. So these are differential diagnoses. Malaria, typhoid, viral fever, arbovirus infections, meningococcus, anthrax. So among these, it is very, very important. The last one, which is anthrax, because the patient will have black scar in that also, but it has to be differentiated by clinical examination and also by biochemical investigations. So it has to be malaria, leptospirosis, typhoid, viral fever, and so coming to the malaria. So as a general, as we are staying at a tropical disease, a tropical country, so malaria, fever with chills and rigors, with hepatic involvement, with short duration, malaria, fever with chills and rigors, with some lymph nodes, with a blackish scar, scrub typhus, fever with chills and rigors, with a biphasic pattern, with a presentation with a hepatic and renal, with the occupational history of farmer or municipal worker, is we have to suspect leptospirosis. Okay. Fever with the chills and rigors, with the food contamination, we have to suspect typhoid with hepatosplenomegaly. Okay. Next. That as a anthrax also animal exposure. We know about that anthrax is a different entity. That is a different class. We'll see in the different class. So laboratory diagnosis. You don't bother about all those. These are the list of investigations we will do. That is, laboratory is not domestically reliable on early phases. That means up to 7 days, laboratory is not useful. It is a clinical examination and presence of SCAR and clinical suspicion is more symptoms and signs. Wheelflex reaction, ELISA-based method, PCR, and indirect immunoparadox assay and immunofluorescence assay. These are the 5 methods. Among them, the IPA and IFA, indirect immunoperoxidase assay and immunofluorescence assay are the gold standard. And in this laboratory investigation, subtypus itself is a 4 marks percent. In this, Wheelflex reaction is again 2 marks percent. You should know about what is Wheelflex reaction. You can read in the microbiology, it is very clear, but it is not given in the Davidson or Harrison. You can read in the microbiology from the microbiology textbook. So these are the laboratory investigations that you can do for. So other laboratory investigations that you will do routinely for RFT, CBC, and LFT. If necessary, we will go for X-ray chest. If necessary, we will go for CT brain, and we will go for lumbar puncture. So in the CBC, we will do the total count increase, and if the patient has got any decreased platelet count. So this is in a small brief or two about Wheelflex reaction. So sharing of antigen between the rickettsial and protease is the base of heterophile antibody. It is an heterophile antibody test. So what happens? There will be sharing of antigen, which is get diagnosed with the protease vulgaris strains. The strains are 19, 2, and other protease mirabilis XK. So this is simple. This chart you have to keep in mind. So if the patient has got OX2 positive, OX9 positive, that is spotted fever. If the patient has got 19 positive, then it is a epidemic or endemic typhus. If the patient has got OXK positive, then it is scrub typhus. So this Wheelflex reaction is go through the microbiology. It is a ultra short. or short-cut person. So this is about immunofluorescence. This IgM, IgG detection. IgM is more preliminary check. There is PCR, DNA detection. There is immunoperoxidase assay. Next, treatment. So the treatment consists of complicated as such, complicated and uncomplicated. Uncomplicated cases, they will respond with the doxycycline 7 to 14 days. If they are sensitive to doxycycline, you can go for other alternate like tetracycline group sensitive means you can go for other like chloramphenicol, and you can go for azithromycin also. If the patient is sensitive to all this, you can go for rifampicin also. Quinolones are not effective. And the treatment duration depends on 7 to 14 days. If the patient is mild cases and without any involvement of other organs, just clinical findings and SCAR, go for 7 days for doxycycline. That is enough. If the patient has complicated, then you can go for 14 days. Maybe up to 21 days also some cases you have to go for doxycycline according to clinical symptoms. So prevention. How will you prevent this means? Protective clothing, that means preventing from bite by larva. Insecticide repellents like benzyl benzoate and methyl benzene, etc. And do not sit and lie bare grounds or grass where you sit. Most of the time, you students sit in front of your auditorium. So I request not to sit on in front of on the grass. Cleaning of vegetation, chemical treatment of soil. That soil should be very. If there is any suspicion, we wash with these chemicals. Catechol methods. This is very important. This 7 points is very, very important. Krabs typhus is a remaining reemerging disease in India. It is one of the differential diagnoses for PUO. An important cause of community-acquired undifferentiated febrile illness in India, especially from if the patients come from the rural. And it is one of the differential diagnoses for sepsis due to modes, or modes, whatever. Failure of early diagnosis associated with a significant mortality, morbidity, and also leads to expensive to PUO workup. PUO means the patient is continuously getting fever. We will work up cultures, repeat, CT, everything. But finally, we'll examine repeat history and repeat examination. If you find a small scar, that will definitely says that the patient has got Krabs typhus, which responds simple with doxycycline. Search for scar in hidden areas of body. That is very, very important, and it is very, very pathognomic finding of Krabs typhus. Screening by wheel flex, a diagnosis done by IgM Krabs typhus method, and the drug of choice is doxycycline. Drug of choice is doxycycline, but if the patient is sensitive to doxycycline, you can go for macrolides like azithromycin and clarithromycin. If the patient is sensitive to that, then you can go for rifampicin. Rifampicin, which is used for leprosy and tuberculosis. This is about Krabs typhus.